Hello, I'm Ollie, and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, Christmas romance and the Loch Ness Monster. It's my weekly wrap up. So, 2nd of December today, and it's definitely starting to feel like winter here in the UK where I am. There is a very heavy frost outside, so no snow as yet. There was a hint of snow the other day, but nothing proper. But yeah, very cold, very heavy frost. So I'm definitely getting into that kind of wintry, Christmassy vibe, and so did read a Christmas book this week to get me in the mood for Christmas as I start to open my advent calendar and enjoy a little chocolate every morning. Anyway, normal format for this Saturday video, so I'll talk about what I've been reading this week, talk about what I think I'm going to be reading next, and also let you know what's been on the channel and what's coming up on the channel. Kind of an exciting week for me because I'm going to my first kind of publishing event on Monday, so going to an event for Myrtle, the kind of fun mystery logic puzzles that I do on the channel every week. So I've been invited to an event in London to have some kind of Christmas snacks and meet GT Karma, the creator of Myrtle. So yeah, looking forward to that very much. Anyway, let's get on with the books and tell you what I've read. So the first thing I read this week was Curse of Loch Ness by Peter Tremayne, which I read for the Cryptid Readathon. So as the title suggests, this book does feature the Loch Ness Monster, but in a very different way than I was expecting. And it starts out as a very different type of book. It starts out with kind of a gothic-y vibe to it as this young woman goes up to Scotland to the estate of her cousin, who's died, and she's kind of inherited his house and things like that. So it's about her trying to figure out what's been going on in his life. There's an element of mystery right from the start, and an element of the Loch Ness Monster from fairly early on as well. But the book ended up going in a very different direction than I was expecting, and is quite shocking and outrageous. And I was surprised. I don't want to spoil it, but it ends up with themes that you might get in a book you might find on Kindle Unlimited, shall we say, that was about the Loch Ness Monster. You might be able to imagine what I'm getting at. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that in a kind of paperback horror novel from the 80s. So yeah, interesting. So I read that, then finished Nocturnes by John Connolly, which I read over the course of a few days. This is a short story collection. This was my Patreon book club pick for November, and this was fantastic. A really, really strong horror short story collection. A bunch of stories in there as well. So the book is, I think, about 500 pages. So it's a big book for a short story collection. Couple of really good novellas. So the opening one was excellent, and there's also a quite lengthy one. It's almost kind of short novel length, to be honest with you, featuring John Connolly's character Charlie Parker, who's written a bunch of novels about. So that was excellent as well. A really good kind of horror mystery, and then just a load of really interesting short stories as well. Some of them have a nice kind of blend of dark humour with the horror. And others are just really, really creepy. There was a clown story in this collection in particular that was just fantastic. So that was very good indeed. Then read as my ongoing kind of mission to read all of Patricia Highsmith's books. So I did as a buddy read, as I am with all of these with Anne from the channel and novella. Read Those Who Walk Away by Highsmith, which is a really atypical Highsmith book, but a really good one. So about these two guys, one of whom is the father of a woman who's committed suicide, and one of whom is her husband. And it's about kind of an ongoing, it's about them coming to terms with her death, but also like an ongoing battle between them. So that was a fantastic thriller. Really, really enjoyed that. Then read a superb book, Shir of Night by Mariana Enriquez. This was such an excellent book. I can't recommend it highly enough. So a difficult book, both in terms of the content and just the size of it, to be honest with you. Quite a deep and heavy book, literally as well as figuratively. But really, really good. So set in Argentina in kind of the 70s and 80s, during the period when, there was terrible political turmoil in Argentina and kind of a dictatorship and things like that. So set against a very dark backdrop, and about a father and son who are kind of involved in this weird religious organisation. So all sorts of crazy horror stuff in here, very weird and bizarre at times, very disturbing at times, but a genuinely excellent book. I really thought it was great. After that, I read another horror novel, Our Share of Night by Jennifer McMahon. Clearly, I got that wrong. The title of the book is actually My Darling Girl. So this was okay. I didn't enjoy this as much as I was expecting to, and as much as a lot of other people seem to. So when I looked on Goodreads, there's some people whose opinions I definitely respect who really loved this book. I thought it was okay. So it's about a woman whose mother treated her and her brother appallingly when they were kids. The mother is now dying of cancer. And wants to come and stay with the woman and her family. And it's about her kind of coming to terms with that, about her relationship with her mother, but also there's a possession angle to the whole book. And I just found it a bit predictable. There were no real surprises for me. The characters were interesting and well done, but overall it didn't surprise me at all. It was readable and gripping, but really nothing special, I thought. After that, something that was also readable and gripping, but a bit more special and just really fun. So Come Toil With Me by Cara Summers, which I read in this Harlequin, Mills and Boon Blaze or Harlequin Blaze double. So this was the Christmas romance I read, and this was read for Sarah from the Bookish Knitter for her Patreon book club. This was just a fun category romance. So it's about a woman cat who runs a toy store, like a specialist toy store in not that sort of toy, specialist toy store in New York. And one of the things she sells is these dolls that she imports from Mexico. But it turns out that this evil drug gang are planting drugs in the dolls and using that as a way to get them imported into the US. Her father hires this rugged sea captain to pretend to be her fiance and also to investigate the mystery of the drug dealing or the drug smuggling. So it had a fair amount of suspense, being a Blaze novel. So Blaze was the kind of spicier end of the Harlequin or Mills and Boon line when it was. I think the Blaze books aren't published anymore, but so slightly spicy, lots of suspense. There wasn't a great deal of like romantic suspense, if you know what I mean. Like you always knew they were going to end up together, and there were no real obstacles put in their path other than the kind of peril and things like that they ended up in through this investigation into the drug smuggling. But it was fun. It had a nice slightly Christmassy vibe to it, not massively Christmassy, but slightly Christmassy vibe to it. And yeah, a bit of suspense, a bit of spice. It was an enjoyable quick read. So those are the things. Is that everything I've read? Yep, those are the things I have read. In terms of what I'm currently reading, so I'm currently listening to, for Remember December, the rereadathon that I'm one of the hosts for in December. So one of the prompts for that is to reread a book in a different format. So I'm listening to the audiobook of Charles Portis's novel True Grit. So I first read this last year and absolutely loved it. Now listening to the audiobook, which is narrated by the author Donna Tartt, who might have at first glance seem a strange person to choose to narrate a western, but she's doing a fantastic job of it. So True Grit is about this young girl, Mattie Ross, trying to get revenge for the murder of her father, and it's narrated by the book is narrated by Mattie Ross, and she's just got a wonderful voice. She's a fantastically enjoyable character to read, and Donna Tartt is doing a wonderful job of being Mattie Ross. It's really a great experience, and it's making me enjoy the book all over again, even though I only read it the first time just over a year ago. So yeah, that's great fun. And I'm also reading, just started this morning, one of the Bernie Rodenbach books by Lawrence Block. So this is a series of books about this guy, Bernie Rodenbach, who's a burglar who gets involved in kind of various scrapes and ends up solving a murder in each of the different books. So this is the second book in the series, Burglar in the Closet, where he basically gets hired to burglarise this woman's apartment, and while he's doing so, she comes back unexpectedly. He has to hide in the closet, and while he's hiding in there, someone else comes in and murders her. So it's about him trying to solve that murder, and it's just a fun murder mystery. Really enjoying that a lot so far. I think I'm about a quarter of the way through. So yeah, enjoying those two at the moment. I think the next thing I'm going to read is, again, for the Remember December event. I'm going to try Rage by Stephen King as a book I can't remember at all. So I've definitely read Rage because I read all of the books in the Backman book series, but I don't remember anything about it. I know it by its reputation, but yeah, don't remember really what it's about at all. So I will be starting that today, I think. So yeah, looking forward to trying some earlier King again. I think Rage first came out in the 70s under the Richard Bachman pseudonym. Actually, probably at a similar time to Burglar in the Closet, which came out I think in 78. So yes, that's what I am currently reading and I'm going to be reading. So in terms of channel stuff, then, so a few different things on the channel in the last week. So I did a video, one of my kind of Sunday ramble type videos, talking about why horror is still, tends to be frowned upon by, kind of established publishers and the world at large, really, in many respects. I did an announcement video for the Kindle Kobo Clean Out event, which is happening in January. So an event focused around reading all those books you've got on your e-reader that you've forgotten you even bought. I did my December TBR video with a very silly TBR game, which a couple of people have pointed out in the comments. Basically, the game involves me tossing coins to choose books from my book cart, choose a book from my book cart. But there's a couple of things I did which actually made it much more likely that I'd end up with the particular book I ended up with, as people have pointed out. So if I do this kind of TBR game again, I will make sure I avoid those unintentional pitfalls. So yeah, that was something else that went up this week. And I also did a review of the excellent anti-war novel Johnny Got His Gun by Donald Trumbo. In the week ahead then, so I've got my November wrap-up video, which I filmed yesterday, so that will be going up in the next couple of days. I'm doing an update video on my Disturbing Books project, where I'm reading a load of disturbing books that have been recommended to me. So yeah, doing an update on that and letting you know how it's going, what I've read recently, and what I'm planning to read next. And there are, I think, 5 books left for me in that project, and then I'll be calling it a day. I've also got the A to Z Hot or Not book tag, which was created by Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads, which is like a quick-fire, 26 quick-fire questions, like, do you like this particular bookish thing or not? And I've also got a secret collab video, which will be going up on Thursday, I think. So part of a quite wide collaboration with a load of other booktubers talking about a specific thing. So look out for that on Thursday. So yeah, that's what's been on the channel and what's coming on the channel. I may do a little kind of vlog style video about the Myrtle event if I'm allowed to film at it. I haven't checked yet if I am, but I imagine I'll be able to. So hopefully I'll get something about that up as well. If not this week, then fairly soon after. So yes, that's what you can see on the channel currently and what's coming up. So yeah, I will leave it there. So do let me know in the comments if you've read any of the books I talked about. Let me know what you've been reading this week. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.